Hey, Brian, I'm calling from Southern California.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in, Peter. How you feeling today? What's on your mind?
Feeling great, actually. Just wanted to, you know, tell you who I'm voting for without actually telling you who I'm voting for, and a
Okay.
quick story on my trip to the polls yesterday.
Okay. Sure. Go ahead.
Uh, you know what? I'm voting for my daughter. I'm voting for my son. If they're lucky enough to choose and to have children of their own, I'm voting for them. I'm voting for democracy, and that's why, hopefully, hopefully by that you can tell who I am voting
Absolutely.
for president and vice president of the United States.
Boy, you sound like a huge MAGA Republican. No, I'm just kidding, Peter. I'm just kidding. Well, you know what, Peter? If you don't mind me asking, would you call yourself a Democrat? Or are you an independent like me? Where do you stand?
A Democrat. My first opportunity to vote was Obama's second term.
Hmm.
I was in high school during his first term. Like you, I unfortunately sat out in 2016,
Right.
and like you, regret that
Hmm.
and won't ever do it again.
We're on the same page
That being
there.
said,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, that being said, I'm not, you know, far left, far right ever. It's country over party, and
Right. How was your
really,
experience like when you voted, Peter? If you can share that with us.
yeah. I mean, and it was great actually. My wife and I went yesterday evening, and on my way to the poll, I noticed actually two women who, I never would like to assume, but presume actually, they were Indian American, and the only reason why I presume that is because of their accents.
Right.
They were very happy with their decision. You can tell. They were taking selfies in the parking lot, and one of them said, "You know who we voted for?"
Yeah.
And really, I didn't assume their legal status. I didn't assume their reasoning for voting.
Right.
I didn't assume any of their intentions or even their party. The only thing I assumed was that they were happy to be a part of the American dream and happy to contribute to, the election and to what's going on.
Sure, and
And I think
that's
that's
it's important, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And it doesn't matter who you're voting for in that sense. We are all Americans. We all have the right, our voices to be heard and vote. The difference between one candidate and the other, Peter, is, and I think you'll agree with me on this, is if one candidate loses, she's going to concede. The other candidate will not concede. That's why he is a threat to our democracy. He will never concede the 2020 election, and I guarantee you, if he loses today, he will not concede this election either. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Peter. Sounds like you have a wonderful family, and I'm glad that you voted not just for yourself, but for your wife and for your kids. And I think that's very commendable, my friend. And got to tell you something, Peter. I think there's far more people out there like you than these MAGA clowns. Um, and I appreciate you calling in. Not to say that if you're a MAGA clown, you can't call into the show and at least try to make the case why you voted for Donald Trump. But that's another story. But you're welcome to call in. If you voted for Donald Trump, you could explain to me why, and I will hear you out.